I am very mad over several things right now. First off, it started with the cup of noodles I made this morning, was just fucking horrible. It was the worst cup of noodles I've ever had in my life. Then the update came late. It was supposed to apparently come at 9 a.m. by most leaks and reports, and the update didn't come till around fucking like 11 for me, which was fucking fun and exciting and wonderful. And then there was the fact that when I actually got into this update, it was one of the worst things I ever played. Oh yeah, and to make things more fun, when I went and streamed the update, Twitch glitched out. So now I don't even have my footage from the fucking update. So now we're using generic stock footage that I have to white out, and I can't look as good now. But oh fucking well. You know what? We will roll with this. Because despite me losing my footage, despite Twitch glitching out, despite my cup of noodles being horrible, and despite this update being bad, it is why this update is so bad that it's paramount I make this video, because this is probably the biggest letdown Bethesda has ever done to us. The biggest, bar none. They say Starfield is bad. I agree. There's a lot of things about Starfield that's bad and mediocre. But you want to know what's fucking worse? This update. This update is worse. And we are going to get into why real quick. Now, just for reference, we've been getting this next-gen update news ever since the literal Xbox fucking Series X came out. Ever since the PS5 came out. We've been getting these newses for a while, boys, and now it's here, and now it's really stinky, really bad. I'm sorry, I need another moment. Like, where can I start? Okay, let's go with textures. Now, obviously we expected textures to get a nice little update during all this. This is the next-gen update. We expect new textures and things to be better, obviously. But they're not better, because all they did was paint over everything that was already existing in game. And now you're probably wondering, what do I mean by that? Okay, you have the object model. The model will be placed with other models to make a room. Pretty simple, right? And then with those models, you will texture the models individually to look distinctive to overall form a room. You want to know what they did? All they did was paint over the pre-existing models. They didn't actually edit the texture. All they did was paint over everything. I shit you not. You can't make this up. All they did was paint over everything. So, whereas before you were getting dignified parts and dignified models that were like standalone, they took models as a whole, multiple different models that would form different parts of the room, and to give them new textures, they painted over everything as if it was one. So I want you to imagine 10 different models, okay? Like imagine you have a floor, a desk, objects on the desk, and the walls, ceilings, whatever. Like imagine that in a series of 10 different objects and models. And I want you to imagine how that would normally look. You have that picture? Now, I want you to take all 10 of those, morph all 10 into one model, and then paint over all of it as if it is one model. It's not going to look good, and it doesn't look good. Not in the slightest. It looks atrocious. Like, if you are not looking at a street, if you are not looking at an overall, big picture, if you are focusing in remotely on any one sole object in the game, you see how bad it is. Like, and this is a thing with a lot of games, especially older games. You focus in on one specific thing and you realize how much it falls apart. Here's the thing. This is not 2007. This is 2024. This game released in 2015. Now, obviously, we didn't get news for no next-gen update all the way until the Xbox Series X, PS5, and all that launched. Okay, sure. But Fallout 4 launched in 2015. So, if I'm to get this right, if I'm to start the time span, if I'm to be generous here and start the time span directly after 2015 all the way till now, that means you have had 9 years to retexture these objects individually, and you fucking didn't. That's strike one. That is immediately strike one. Failure to properly retexture models. All the models look fucking horrible now the minute you put it under a fucking microscope in terms of environmental. The only saving grace is the fact the actual individual weapon items and armor items look decent and still look good. That's the only saving grace. The minute you analyze anything in the actual environment that's meant to be an environmental set piece and start looking at its individual parts, it falls apart in seconds. It's just literally the worst thing ever. Now, considering the game has had 9 years to rebake in an oven for this big upgrade, you know, considering you've had 9 years to ponder, implement, mess around with, toy with, if we're going to be generous and start the timeline in 2015, which I probably shouldn't do. I'm going to have people yelling at me for that. But we try to be generous. We try to be nice around here. We try to give them the benefit of the doubt. Say, hey, you've had all this time to do this, which in truth they do. Like, realistically, just because you have a game out doesn't mean you need to stop toying with it and experimenting with it. The fact that we did get some new items with this update signifies that, but I'll get to that later. Or I might not. I don't know. Honestly, the items are kind of mid and they almost don't do anything. Like, the new items they put in, they're like, you can take them or leave them. It's Fallout 4. The gameplay is overall the same, which I can thankfully say. The gameplay is thankfully the fucking same. But anyway, I want you to imagine you've had 9 years to rebake a game. What's the first thing you would probably do? Expand upon the gameplay mechanics, obviously. Like, shit, man, this is next gen. We have a chance to work with all new hardware, do things with the game we've never imagined before, give this thing a beautiful polish. Like, this is meant to be an upgrade, man. We're going big time. You didn't expand on anything. I have never seen, actually, I've seen one other game whose update was this useless. Actually, a few other games. The Rocket League update was almost this useless. But, actually, no, the Rocket League update wasn't even close to this useless, because with the Rocket League update, they spelled it out for you. But anyway, so what was my point again? Oh, yeah. With 9 years, you would imagine they would, you know, do something with the mechanics, expand upon it, add in bullet penetration or something. No. They did none of that. 9 years. And we've gotten no expansion on any of the mechanics in this upgrade. Everything that was already in game is everything you can already do in game in terms of mechanics. Again, there are some new items, some new quests, but those really don't make or break this review. We're focusing on how much of an upgrade is this, and it's not much of one. There's almost no upgrade factor. Why are you releasing an upgrade that has been anticipated over the past 4 years? Highly anticipated. And being generous, outside of those 4 years, you know, 2020 to 2024, game launched in 2015, you had 9 years to mess with this game. You had 9 years to mess with this game. And nothing has come out of it. It's amazing. I am convinced Bethesda can snap their fingers and make a game out of nothing. I'm legitimately convinced of it. Like, I'm convinced they could release a black screen on a CD disc, and we would somehow find it here. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be cynical when I say that, but it's like, for the most part, it just pisses me off. It just makes me mad. It probably makes a lot of people mad. I will be deeply shocked if I'm the only person angry this time. Like, I will actually be deeply shocked. But I think the biggest sin out of anything is overall the broken performance mode that you can't even tell a FPS difference with. Let that sink in for a second. An FPS mode where you can't tell a difference in FPS. Did it sink in yet? An FPS mode where you can't tell a difference in the FPS. Shit, man, why not release a 10 FPS downgrade? Like, at this point, like, you might as well just offer to dumb down our gameplay to 10 FPS. Like, if you're gonna offer an FPS mode that does absolutely nothing and is broken, great, wonderful. You might as well put my gameplay down to 10 FPS, like this video will be. By the way, people have asked me what this FPS on this camera is. I have no fucking clue. Like fucking my computer software, fucking OBS, it swears that it's a 30 FPS camera, and I'm not convinced that this is 30 FPS. Like, hey, at least this camera's more reliable than fucking the FPS settings in Fallout 4. Broken textures, broken FPS, broken performance mode that doesn't do anything. No new mechanics. How else can this get worse? Like, it can't get any worse than this. Oh yeah, the items they added in were nothing we ever requested. Like, I want you to think of all the games that have come before. I want you to think of all the games that have come before Fallout 4. And you know what? We can even include 76 and Fallout Shelter. You know what? We'll include the games that came after Fallout 4 as well. Because honestly, they could have retroactively put stuff in and I wouldn't have cared. So let's see. Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout Extreme, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, Fallout 76, Fallout Shelter. You get what I'm saying? There is a huge pool of content. There is a huge pool of content of stuff that you could have put into this game with this upgrade, and you didn't. You just fucking didn't. Yeah, they just didn't do it. There's nothing here. It's empty. It's boring. It's still Fallout 4 at least. Like, that's the only good thing I can give this upgrade. At least it's still Fallout 4. At least it's still the good old Fallout 4. We can turn our brain off for a few hours, install mods, and forget about everything. Oh yeah, you can install mods. You can't. You literally can't. Because the game tries to stop you now. It will glitch out the mods for the first 5 to 8 times. You try to download a mod. For 5 to 8 times, most consistently, and I've tested this a lot, it will say, you can't download it. Error with the system. And, oh, this is getting pathetic. And so, I thankfully did get the mods to download after going through this with every single mod. So, when I wanted to put my mods back on, it took me an hour. For 30 mods. That weren't even gigabytes. Because, and only because, of this fucking glitch that was introduced with the upgrade, breaking the mods. And the worst part is we aren't even getting Fallout London now. Now, I wasn't a big fan of the idea of Fallout London, but I know there was a lot of people who were. And although I thought it looked like a shoddy project, and I thought there were a lot of people who could have done better with it, worst is, we're never gonna know now. We have to wait longer. So I can't even get to shit on Fallout London. I don't want to shit on it, but knowing me, I probably will. Like, honestly, I would have preferred them making Fallout London official. You know what? As someone who didn't like the idea of Fallout London, the mod that we might not never get now, I think I would have preferred them making Fallout London official as opposed to them doing this shitty upgrade that is just abysmal in every way. And now, I want you to consider something even greater. This game has been out for a while. And you know what? Honestly, I shouldn't be this shocked because they don't even do this with older games now. But you know what would have been nice? You know what? Actually, there's precedent for this because Skyrim did it, actually. Skyrim did it. When Skyrim got its big upgrade from Xbox 360 to Xbox One and PS3 to PS4, and then later PS4 to PS5 and Xbox One to Series X and S, guess what? They bundled everything in. They did. All the DLC was there when I went to buy it for Xbox One. It was there. And then later when I went to get it on my Series X, there was an option to get the anniversary upgrade. That, well, air quotes upgrade. The anniversary edition was more so they could bundle everything in again. You know what I'm saying? They were making it more convenient for you to buy the content. And so all the Creation Club content was then there when I went to buy it. Skyrim, that is, for my Xbox Series X. It was there. All the content bundled in. Now, you're probably thinking, well, surely, Johnny, they did this with Fallout 4. No. Sorry for getting up close to the mic there, but no, they didn't. They didn't. Everything is still separate. You still have to buy everything. No, we can't get one nice big bundle, or maybe the game and then a bundle for all the content. No. Nada. None. Nothing. And you can't tell me there wasn't precedent for this, because there was multiple times with other games. This is a joke. In fact, you know what? There's probably that one guy out there who said, well, they didn't even do that for Starfield. You know, you had to buy something separate at first. No, for the old Mars content with Starfield, there was a bundle option. And Starfield, while it is a pretty mid-game, at least it had everything it was offering in one fucking bundle. One bundle. You could get everything in. Meanwhile, Fallout 4 isn't even offering the game and then a bundle. No, it's the game, the separate DLCs, and then all the separate Creation Club content. And sometimes in the Creation Club, you might be lucky and they might have 3 or 4 items bundled in together out of like the 30 items that are there. And they'll only do this for like 3 times. Actually, there might be more than 30 items in there. I didn't check how many items are in the Creation Club because that's not the big important part of this. The important part is they fucked it up. They just fucked it up. They fucked it up. Yeah, needless to say, I'm not happy about this, and I feel bad for myself because I'm going to have to do a whole bunch of edits and cuts into this. But overall, what am I going to give the Fallout Next Gen update? 0 out of 10. Literal 0 out of 10. I regret being excited for this in the slightest. I should have known better. But considering, even though Starfield was mild, considering how good Starfield looked, considering how beautiful of a game Starfield looked, I had high expectations for a game where most of the work was already done for them. And all they had to do was offer a competent upgrade. What upgrade? What upgrade? That's my only real question. Bethesda? What upgrade? If this is any warning, Elder Scrolls 6, whenever that comes out, is going to be the worst game Bethesda has ever launched. I'm calling it now. With the fact that Starfield was so mild, and the fact that Fallout 4's upgrade got botched, and then we have to consider earlier on, way earlier in the timeline, we got dog shit 76, and then the horrible atrocity that was Fallout Shelter. This is Bethesda's lineup. Fallout 76 Shelter, a shitty upgrade for Fallout 4, and Starfield. And then later on, we're gonna get Elder Scrolls 6. I'm not amused. Like, if all the games I've just referenced and what I've talked about and shown today is not any proof that this, bar none, was the worst thing ever made by Bethesda, I will be shocked. I will be shocked. And you know what? I'm probably just gonna play Fallout 3 again. Honestly. I am so turned off from Fallout 4 right now with how bad this update was. I think I'm just gonna go back to Fallout 3 and enjoy myself. I have been Johnny Von Duke, and I appreciate you all for watching and suffering through this with me. Have a good one.